Let us now discuss the inverse trigonometric functions. So we'll start our lesson by first recalling what is an inverse function. So i-review lang muna natin. So when we say inverse of a function, for example, if we have a function of x or y is equal to a function of x, and that y is, let's say, 3x plus 5. So the inverse of this function is a function expressed as x, or ibaliktarin lang natin yung pag-express ng function. So for example, we have y is equal to 3x plus 5 nga. So therefore, the inverse of this function is just, let's just solve for x. So that would be 3x is equal to y minus 5. So x is equal to 1/3 of y minus 5. So this is the inverse of the function y. Okay, so ganun lang. So let's now proceed to inverse trigonometric functions. In the previous lesson, we have the function y is equal to sine x, or this is if we define, let me move this here muna, that is if we define that y is equal to a function of x. But how about if y yung angle and yung x yung independent variable dito? So let's say x is equal to a function of y. So how do we get the inverse of this function? Okay, so the inverse of this function is just a function expressed in terms of x, or we'll just solve for y. Okay, so y here is just equal to, kung eto siya, inverse natin yung sign, that is the inverse of sine, or arcsine. So that would be arcsine x. Okay, or we could rewrite that as, or we could write that as y is equal to arcsine, this manner, this way, arcsine x. So pwede ganyan. Okay, and for this is if x is equal to sine y, but and if x is equal to cosine y, then we write y as equal to the arc cosine of x, or we could write that as y is equal to the arc cosine, that way, of x. Okay, and if we have x is equal to tangent y, the inverse of this is just y is equal to arctan x, or it could be written as arctangent that way of x. So same goes to arcsecant, arccosecant, and arccotangent. Now, we need to note here that yung pag-measure natin ng angles is circular, di ba? I mean, eto siya. And it could go up to full rotation, and pwede pa siyang sumobra another full rotation and another full rotation. So meaning, for each arctangent, it will give us an infinite number of angles. What I mean is this. Suppose we have y is equal to arc sine of 1/2. So that means we have sine y is equal to 1/2. So what angle y yung applyan natin ng sine, the result is 1/2. Okay? So tingnan natin sa calculator. So if we use our calculator, we have y is equal to arc sine 1/2. So let's make that 0.5. Oh no, yeah, 0.5. Okay? So that would be 30 degrees. Okay? Or baliktarin natin yung inverse niya, 'di ba? Sin y is equal to 1/2. So that would be sin y. So if that is 30 degrees, the result is 1/2. Okay? So the value of y is 1/2. Pero kung mag-add tayo dito ng 1 complete revolution, so that's plus 360, the result is still 1/2. If we add again another complete revolution, the result is still 1/2. And if we add again another complete revolution, the result is still 1/2. Okay. Now, since we defined y as a function of x, therefore there should only be one value of y for every value of x. So dapat unique siya. Okay, let's start with arcsine x. So ano yung mga values dapat ng arcsine x na i-restrict natin para di siya rotate lang. So if we have this Cartesian plane, remember that, let's say this is our angle, let's say this is x. No, This is theta. This is theta. Remember that sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So, kung ma-recalling yung supplementary angles, let's say we have this triangle in which this angle is equal to 180 minus theta. So, that is 180 minus theta. Okay? So, the opposite of that is the same value as here, or this value is the same as this, and this value, of course, the hypotenuse are the same. So, meaning yung mga sine dito up to here is just the same as the sine up to here. Pero if you recall sa negative angle identities, if we have sine negative theta, the result is negative sine theta. Magkaiba yung value niya. So, meaning, yung mga angles from here to here are different, or the sine of the angles from here to here are different from the sines of the sine of the angles from here to here. Okay? So, i-restrict na lang natin kasi dito, if eto papunta dito yung mga value natin, then uulit lang yung values dito. Okay? The same lang siya. So, mag-start tayo dito sa negative pi over 2 up to pi over 2. So, meaning yung arcsinx, we will restrict these values from negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. So, that will be the range of our function arcsinx. Okay? Then, for cosine, ito, let us illustrate. So, let me erase this. Remember that cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, diba? So, sorry. This is pi over 2. So, if this is our theta and this, So, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay? And kung ma-recall ninyo, yung cosine negative theta is just the same as cosine theta, negative angle identity. So, meaning yung mga angles dito, or cosine of the angles here, are just the same with the cosine of the angles here. Okay? Pero dito, sa supplementary na niya, sa supplement niya, or the angles here, these are different. So, therefore, for cosine, we'll start from 0 up to this angle here, which is pi, or 180. So, the range for cosine, or arc cosine, that would be 0 up to pi. And for tangent, yung sa tangent is opposite over adjacent. So, ang property niya is similar lang dun sa sine. So, for arc tangent, that would be pi over 2 to pi over 2, or negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. So, this will be our restrictions for the inverse trigonometric functions. Now, for the other three inverse trigonometric functions, namely arcsecant x, arccosecant x, and arccotangent x, so our range will be from 0. We will strict our range from 0 to pi over 2. So, ito yung mga restriction natin dito. So, this will be our range. But, may restriction din tayo sa value of x. So, first, sa secant, x should not be less than 1. So, x should be greater than or equal to 1. As well as sa arccosecant, x should be greater than or equal to 1. And sa cotangent naman, x should not be negative. So, that's greater than or equal to 0. So, ito yung mga restriction natin sa inverse trigonometric function for the reciprocals. So, because of these restrictions, minsan, nakaka-confuse siya sa mga solutions natin. So, I think it would be safe kung, since related lang naman to sila, ito is just related to this, I think it's much better kung most of the time ito na lang gamitin natin. Okay? Para ma-avoid natin yung mga ambiguous result if we are using arcsecant, arccosecant, and arccotangent. Because anyway, reciprocal lang naman ito sila. Okay, let's now begin with this first problem. We need to prove that arcsine negative x is equal to the negative arcsine of x. So, medyo madali lang naman siya illustrate. So, if we let alpha represent arcsine negative x, and if we let beta be arc sine x, that means going back to this, that means alpha should be equal to negative arc sine x, which is beta. So we need to show that alpha is just equal to negative beta. Medyo madali lang naman. So if we rewrite this, that would become sine alpha, that's equal to negative x, right? Okay, kasi inverse siya, binalik lang natin, or eto siya, nilipat lang sa kabila. So yung arc sine, paglipat niya, sine na siya. Then we do the same sa beta, so that means sine beta is equal to x. Okay, since sine alpha is equal to negative x and x is equal to sine beta, so that means if we just drop, it's not canceling, no, kasi we are not, we don't divide all terms by sine, we don't do that. Parang inan-apply lang natin, diba? So both angles are applied with sine. For example, we have theta and we have gamma. So if you apply sine to theta and you also apply sine to gamma, I think this allows explanation. But anyway, sige lang. You apply sine to gamma, and if the result is equal, so that means theta is just equal to gamma. Parang ganun lang, no? So if they are the same, the same lang naman yung in-apply mong function. So therefore, dito, alpha is equal to negative beta. Okay, for our next problem, we have simplified the expression arc tangent 2 plus arc tangent 3. Or evaluate lang natin yung expression na to. So first, how about if we let alpha be equal to arc tangent 2 and we let beta be equal to arc tangent 3. So it follows that tangent alpha is equal to 2 and tangent beta is equal to 3. So, para madali, how about if we lagyan na lang natin, simplify the expression, or how about solve for na lang, or evaluate na lang. Gamma is equal to arctan 2 plus arctan 3, and that means since arctan 2 is equal to alpha, so therefore gamma is equal to alpha plus arctan 3 is beta. Ayan, arctan 2 is alpha, arctan 3 is beta. So therefore, gamma is equal to alpha plus beta. Okay? Now, tangent alpha is 2 and tangent beta is 3. If we apply tangent both sides, we'll have tangent gamma. But we are solving for gamma here, ha? But mag-apply lang tayo ng tangent because nag-involve na tayo ng tangent dito. Sorry. Nag-involve na tayo ng tangents dito. Okay. So, tangent gamma is equal to the tangent of the sum of alpha and beta. So that means tangent gamma is equal to, the identity for alpha plus tangent of alpha plus beta is just tangent alpha plus tangent beta. This is sum and difference angle identity divided by 1 minus tangent alpha tangent beta. Okay? So therefore, tangent gamma is equal to, ang pangit ng pagka-gamma. That is equal to tangent alpha, which is 2, plus tangent beta, which is 3, all over 1 minus tangent alpha is 2, tangent beta is 3. Okay, so we'll have 5 over 1 minus 6. So we have 5 over negative 5, or tangent alpha is equal to, gamma is equal to negative 1. So, gamma now, the result of our answer, simplified form, is just equal to the arc tangent of negative 1. Okay, arc tangent negative 1, that's 45 degrees if we use our calculator. We have arc tangent negative 1, so that's negative 45 degrees. Pero, remember that We started from arc tangent 2, which is 63 degrees, nasa first quadrant, and the other one is arc tangent 3. So meaning, yung answer natin dapat is nasa second quadrant, no? Nasa second quadrant yung answer natin, which is also tangent of 135 is still negative 1. Still negative 1. Kaya negative 1 na lang yung answer na. Hindi ko na siya convert into, let's say, it's negative 45 yung answer. Because tangent 135 is the answer, which is equal to negative 1. Yun yung answer niya. No? It is because of yung given natin. We have given na kasi, sorry ha. Kung i-drawing natin siya isa-isa, yung tangent 2 is 60 plus degrees. This is alpha. Yung beta natin is also, that's arctangent. Mag-arctangent 3 tayo. Arctangent 3. That's 71. So if you add these two angles, this is beta, 71 degrees. If you add these two angles, the result is a much greater angle na nasa third quadrant na siya. So let's say alpha plus beta. So eto na yung gamma. This is now gamma. Okay? Which is 135, or still arctangent negative 1. So we cannot conclude hastily that this is equal to negative 45 degrees or negative pi over 4. We cannot do that kagad. So we need to look at the situation first. So medyo confusing yung inverse trigonometric function. Okay, let's proceed to our next problem. Problem 9-3. Evaluate the given expression. Expressions kasi dalawa. So for number 1, we have tangent of arc tangent 1/3 minus arc tangent 1/4. So we'll do the same as our first or the previous problem. If we let alpha be equal to arc tangent 1/3, it follows that tangent alpha is equal to 1/3. And if we let beta be equal to arc tangent 1/4, it follows that tangent beta is equal to 1/4. Okay, so therefore we have a tangent alpha minus beta, right? I just went back from here. Ito, this, ito siya, and this, ito siya. Okay, then from sum and difference of two angles na identities, we know that this is equal to tangent alpha minus tangent beta over 1 plus tangent alpha tangent beta. So tangent alpha minus beta, in which yun yung hinahanap natin, is equal to tangent alpha, which is just 1/3, minus tangent beta, which is just 1/4, over 1 plus 1/3 times 1/4. So that would be equal to 12. 4 minus 3 over 1 plus 1 over 12. So 1 over 12, then we'll have 12 plus 1, or 13. So if we cancel this out, that would be 1 over 13 is our answer. So for your assignment, first assignment, alam na. You just need to solve for this. You can check using calculator, pero I want the elegant solution for this, or evaluate that expression. So let's now proceed to our next example. Problem 9-4. Change the equations to algebraic form. So let's start with number 1. We have, let me change this first. We'll have arc cosine x plus arc sine y is equal to pi over 6. So kailangan natin i-change siya to algebraic form. So how do we do this? First, mag-assign tayo ng this inverse trigonometric function. Let's assign this to an angle. Okay? So like nang ginawa natin kanina. So if we let alpha, if we let alpha be equal to r cosine x, so it follows that cosine alpha is equal to x. And if we let beta be equal to arcsine y, that it follows that sine beta is equal to y. So therefore, the function now, or itong given natin, could just be written as alpha plus beta is equal to pi over 6. Now, pwede tayong gumamit ng any trigonometric function na i-apply natin in this expression, in that equation. Pwede tayong gumamit ng cosine, pwede tayong sine, and pwede tangent. So for convenience, let's just use sine. You can also try this problem using cosine or even tangent. So if I apply sine both sides, then I'll get sine alpha plus beta, that's equal to sine pi over 6. Pi over 6, that would be 180 over 6, so 30. Sine 30 degrees, that is 1/2. So let me write na lang din dito. Sine alpha plus beta is equal to 1/2. You can use your calculator to check that. So, sum and difference of two angles for sine. The identity for that, yung sin, cos, cosine mnemonics. So, we'll have sine alpha, sin, cos, cosine. Cosine beta plus cosine alpha, sine beta. That's equal to 1/2. Now, the new equation involves, this equation now involves sine alpha, but we only have cosine alpha. And we have cosine beta, but we have sine beta. How do we substitute now? So, ang gagawin natin, we'll just reconstruct the triangle for this. Okay? So, construct tayo ng triangle in which the angle is alpha, or right triangle in which this angle is alpha. Okay? We know that cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So, therefore, in this triangle, that adjacent side is x and the hypotenuse is 1. So it follows that the other side is just, by Pythagorean theorem, that's just 1 squared minus x squared. Right? Let's do the same with sine beta. So let's reconstruct the triangle here, or let's draw a right triangle in which the angle is beta. In sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So that means the opposite of beta is y and hypotenuse is 1. Because we have y over 1. So therefore, this side, the adjacent side, is square root of 1 squared minus y squared. So, kung mag-substitute na tayo, what would be sine, or refer tayo dito, okay, let's use red. Kung mag-refer na tayo dito, what would be sine alpha equal to? So, we know that sine is opposite. So that would be square root of 1 minus x squared over hypotenuse, which is 1. Okay? So therefore, sine alpha is just square root of 1 minus x squared. So how about for cosine beta? So for cosine beta, dito tayo titingin sa the other triangle. So we have cosine beta is equal to adjacent square root of 1 minus y squared over hypotenuse, which is 1. So therefore, cosine beta is just simply square root of 1 minus y squared. Then plus, we know that cosine alpha is equal to x and sine beta is equal to y. That's equal to 1/2. So the rest is just algebra. If we combine these two, that would be square root of 1 minus x squared times 1 minus y squared, then that would be equal to 1/2 minus xy. Then if we square both sides, mawawala yung square dito, so we'll have 1 minus x squared times 1 minus y squared. Then this becomes 1/2 minus xy squared. Then by FOIL method, we'll have 1 minus y squared minus x squared plus x squared y squared. And by binomial expansion, or if we just square this binomial, that would become 1/2 squared, so that's 1/4 minus 1 half xy plus minus 1 half xy, so that's 1xy, so that's xy. Then plus x squared y squared. Okay, so in-expand lang natin siya. And if you notice, parehong may x squared y squared, so cancel out na lang. How about if we transpose this all to the other side and flip? So what will happen? That will become x squared plus y squared minus xy plus 1/4 minus 1 equal to 0. So simplify na lang to. So x squared plus y squared minus xy. So 1/4 minus 1, it's negative 3/4. Negative 3/4 equal to 0. Then how about transpose na lang yung 3/4 to the other side? Oh, sorry. Ito na lang. Equal to 3/4 na lang to dito. Then multiply all terms by 4. So we'll have 4x squared plus 4y squared minus 4xy. That's equal to 3. So this would be our answer. The algebraic form of the equation. Very, very easy. So what I want you to do again is to solve for number 2. This is your second assignment. Change the equation into algebraic form.